Hi everyone, welcome to another video, and this video will be about the Mind Body Spirit Festival 2024 in London. And I've been to every Mind Body Spirit Festival for the last 12 or 13 years, so yeah, every time it's been a life-changing experience. This time not so much, which is interesting, but it was still a fascinating event, and today I'm going to tell you all about it, what I learned, and in particular some of the key learnings in publicity, so publicizing yourself, especially as a spiritual person, intuitive development. I went to a couple of workshops on that, crystals, and just catching up with old friends in the Kirtan scene. So hopefully you enjoy it. So the Mind Body Spirit Festival has been going for, I think, over 20 years, maybe longer, maybe 30 years. And it's essentially this festival in West London inside, with thousands of people coming over 4 days to take part in spiritual events, workshops. Some of the best spiritual teachers all over the world are invited to teach and facilitate workshops. And there are lots of stalls, you can buy things, and there's a consumerist angle as well, no doubt. And there are a few stages and tents where you can go and immerse yourself in sound therapy, sound healing, and different practices. And yeah, for my part, every year it's quite a transformational experience, because you go to quite fascinating workshops from world experts, and I've always had quite a big breakthrough in my personal development in these festivals. But yeah, this time was interesting. I felt in my personal development path, I feel like ever since I acknowledged that my enlightenment is through giving service, and my enlightenment is through self-healing and self-learning and inner work and shadow work, then I came to realize that I didn't need anything more external. I didn't really need any more training as such. All I have to do is sit in silence and look within and provide as much service and help to others as possible, and keep improving my own ethics. And that really is my path. And ever since I realized that, I realized that to progress, I have to look within and be still, be silent, not go to more workshops and classes necessarily. So that's why it wasn't necessarily a big transformational experience for me this time. But that said, I did have some amazing experiences and meet some amazing people. And so one of the workshops I went to was on intuitive development from someone called Taylor Page from the US. She's a professional psychic, and she gave us some really good tips, such as not using your mind. And so the exercise we did was a sort of 2 truths, 1 lie exercise, where you work with a partner next to you, and you give them 2 truths and 1 lie. And the 2 truths are impressions or information or images or feelings that you receive from a higher or more inner place about the person. And those impressions don't go through your mind faculty. They are just impressions that are received as you set your intention on the person in front of you, using their name or the image of them or the feeling of them. And it's usually the first thing that comes to your mind. It's usually instant. So 2 impressions like that, and then a 3rd impression where you make up something about the person based on the rational logic of what they look or appear like. So maybe they're wearing sports clothes, so you say, okay, you are a sports person. So that's sort of the mind faculty, that's logical reasoning, whereas the previous approach of receiving impressions is more of an intuitive approach. And recognizing that difference can really help us in our lives and also at work in our businesses as well. And that was Taylor Page. I also went to an intuitive development workshop from TJ Higgs, which was really awesome. she's the most incredible psychic. She would just go around and see everyone's aura directly and physically, and say really deep and specific things about each person instantly, which was super impressive. I remember when she came around as we were doing the partner exercises to myself and my partner, and just said something really like deeply specific about my partner, and then about me also said instantly, like, you've been doing this for years, you've been doing this since you were a toddler, which is exactly correct. You know, I was born with these sorts of traits, or maybe abilities, you could say. So she instantly knew that without even speaking to me, just looking at me, which is really incredible, and massive respect to TJ Higgs. And she's also like, she held the space really well. She was funny, comical, light-hearted, direct, present, connected with people really well. And the exercises that she taught us to work with color, and specifically color in your aura. And the way she taught us is, you just look slightly above the person that you're reading, maybe 3 inches above them. Blur your eyes, defocus your eyes, and just receive what color appears to be in their aura. And you may see this physically, or it may be a feeling that comes through your eyes, or it may be an impression or a sensation. Like, what does the color feel like? What does the person's aura sense like? Which is a strange way to put it, but you must understand that if these intuitive extrasensory perceptions exist, then they exist beyond the 5 senses. And so we don't have words in the English language to actually explain how the sensory information is received from the 6th and 7th sense, for example. So you should be open to realizing that it won't necessarily come to you in the same way as you receive information from your 5 senses. The visual image may be a visual image, but it may be higher dimensional. It may be a perceptual image, where you may feel the color rather than see it. And it was really cool because I worked with an awesome guy behind me by the name of Jack. And as soon as I knew I was working with him and TJ told us the exercise, I instantly got the feeling of royal blue. Instantly it was royal blue, and I also felt quite sporty with that. Funnily enough, I didn't say the sporty thing because, you know, he was a fit guy wearing shorts, so that could probably be guessed rationally. But I did tell him it turned out, by the way, he was a rugby player for many years, and that seemed to be like his main thing in life for quite some time. But yeah, I told him the royal blue guess right away, and that was actually his favorite color, which was really awesome. And I also later saw other subtle colors like yellows and purples sort of on top of the navy blue, which is quite interesting to see the sort of secondary things that are coming through in his life, or more like the temporary current things in his life, as opposed to the permanent royal blue that defines his overall personality. So we had a really good conversation, and he read me really well as well. He nailed all the colors, and so much synchronicity. Like, we both had friends who are currently on big stag do's, and we both avoided those stag do's because, you know, everyone was going to be drinking alcohol and whatnot. We both went through a path of, as we really embrace our spiritual true self, we have to let go of some of our friends that don't understand this sort of path, or are still avoiding reflecting on their true selves and looking within. He also recommended a book which I'm just about to read, which is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, which a dear connection of mine has also asked me to read. So yeah, massive synchronicities, and such an awesome meeting with Jack. And it's such a cool thing that over the last 12 years going to this festival, you know, it's definitely more women than men, but over the last 12 years I've seen more and more young men come through and embrace the spiritual path, look within, and Jack was just such an awesome example of that. So that was TJ Higgs, and I really took away an extra octave in my intuitive development, because I really realized what it means to perceive color and aura in a new way, and I feel like I can perceive that in different people, and I'm really excited to sort of test that out, of course in an ethical and consensual way, but that's really exciting. I also bought some new crystals, can't help it, what's a man to do? These are Lemurian quartz crystals, which these hold really high energy, really high etheric energy. They have the horizontal lacerations, which make them Lemurian quartz. And you also have different types of clear quartz, which by the way is my favorite type of crystal. You have fire quartz, which has sort of cloudy fire-like shapes within it. You have just general clear quartz, which often actually isn't that clear, it can just be a bit sort of misty. And you have Vogel ones, which are cut in a certain way. But these are Lemurian quartz, which for me are the highest energy, and you can usually tell because they're a bit colder. They feel a bit colder, at least energetically. They are sort of heavier, and the clink, when you clink them against something, is sort of lighter. But really interestingly, this particular crystal was really warm when I picked it up, really hot and dense, and clearly it had picked up a lot of the dense energy around it during the festival, so I really had to put it in some water and leave it out in the sun, and now it's nice and cold and clear. And this is prehnite, which is a green crystal, and I really haven't seen much of prehnites over the years, but it was in abundance at the festival. I don't know if it's because I'm currently working with a lot of green, but so I just saw it and looked out for it. But this is so cool, yeah, to feel some green, dense green crystal. Maybe dense is the wrong word, but yeah, rich green crystal. Yeah, and then I also went to an awesome workshop by Jessica Huey, such a fantastic person. She has an MBE and is the most awesome publicist and spiritual teacher about purpose that I've met in a long time. And her key teaching, or one of her key teachings, is that we don't have to look outside for our purpose. People often think we have to find our purpose, but our purpose is within. In fact, we have to peel back the layers of our outer self to look within, to find our purpose. But we're not finding it, the purpose is already there. It's more like just revealing what we always knew. So that was really cool. She called that inside out, thinking of your purpose and publicizing yourself from the inside out. And also that reveals the gold within you, according to her. So I've been in touch with her afterwards, and I hope I get to work with her on a more formal basis, because that would be really exciting. And I got to see one of my most favorite teachers I've ever worked with, Nikki Slade, do her thing on stage, do her Kirtan, and a bunch of my friends who did the 200-hour Kirtan training course with me and Nikki perform on stage with Nikki. And then we also went to a tent area. It was called the Alchemy of Sound, and we did it again, more Kirtan in a sort of smaller, more intimate environment, which was emotional and like coming home once again, which Nikki is just the most amazing vehicle for. So yeah, that was the MBS Festival 2024. Oh, okay. I would be remiss if I didn't mention a couple more people. I'm really interested in sound right now and whether I can use gongs and singing bowls in my practice. And so I also met this awesome guy called Craig, who was a slightly older chap, if he doesn't mind me saying, who is a sound healer and sells gongs. And, you know, when I met him and looked eye to eye, I can always tell, I could tell at the event instantly by looking into people's eyes and sensing their aura, sort of what they're feeling and what they're thinking of me. And oftentimes there is a little bit of judgment here and there, just because most people do judge. And it might be like, oh, this guy looks young, or this guy looks like this. I can sort of hear it and see it in their mind. But with Craig, there was nothing like that. There was no judgment. There was just a real like heart-to-heart talk and enjoyment of music and sound. And that was just the most awesome feeling. You're not really caring about each other's age or the way we look, just enjoying the conversation about sound healing, gongs and music, which is really, that is the true meaning of spiritual. That is enjoying the spirit within, not the outer self, not the skin or the shell that you see. This is enjoying the essence, and that's what it really means to be spiritual. Or in yoga, you would say the Atma. So that was Craig, and I also met a really cool lady called Julia, who also sells gongs at a different gong shop, and she very similarly had just an awesome playful energy. Absolutely loved her. I hope to do more work with her in the future. Came across this awesome charity called Go Dharmic and signed up to them. They are from the lineage of Neem Karoli Baba, who is also the guru of Krishna Das in the Kirtan tradition. So I knew they were from a solid background, and they're doing their karma yoga, which is all about giving charity. Seva is what it's called in yoga. So I love those guys as well. And yeah, lastly, got some energy healing from the Tamara Healing Foundation, which is based off Reiki. But yeah, it was a very warm energy exchange that I received from those guys. So really thankful to them. So I'm pretty sure I said lastly about 10,000 times in this video, but hopefully that was interesting, and that was my experience in the MBS Festival 2024. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Much love.